The silence you carry isn't noble, it is corrosive. There is a dangerous belief, repeated to the point of exhaustion, that swallowing your cry or keeping your problems to yourself is a sign of strength, of stoicism. The clinical truth, backed by decades of neuroscience, is exactly the opposite. Keeping your anguish a secret doesn't make you stronger, it makes you inflamed. In the 1980s, Dr. James Pennebaker made a disturbing discovery. The simple act of not speaking about a trauma or intense emotion physically degrades your body. Secrecy attacks the immune system with the same violence as a chronic disease. When you feel something chaotic, that mix of fear, anxiety, and frustration, and you fail to translate it into words, your brain enters a state of maximum alert. Your amygdala, the fear center, hijacks your rationality and screams that there is danger. But because you haven't defined it, it doesn't know how to fight it. You live at war with an invisible enemy. The first rule for any attempt at an examined life is brutally simple. What you can name, you can regulate. As long as your anguish is just a tightness in the chest or a diffuse malaise, it holds total power over you. It is a ghost. But the exact moment you pick up a pen or open your mouth and give it a name, I am feeling envy. I am feeling humiliation. I am afraid of failing. A neurological magic happens. Blood flows from the amygdala to the prefrontal cortex. The ghost becomes a logic problem, and logic problems can be solved. Most of us spend our entire lives governed by these nameless shadows. We react with anger when we are sad. We isolate ourselves when we need help. We eat compulsively when we are bored. We are puppets of impulses we refuse to identify. If you are tired of being a passive spectator of your own emotional instability, understand that change requires a different kind of courage. Not the courage to suffer in silence, but the courage to look inside and tell the truth. This channel, Kokoro, exists for those who have decided to stop running. Our commitment here is not to empty entertainment or feel-good quotes to stroke the ego. It is to applied neuroscience and philosophy that hurts but heals. If you are ready to take responsibility for your own mind and stop being held hostage by your unconscious patterns, subscribe now. Join those who have chosen clarity over comfort. Because the reality is that your brain did not evolve to make you happy. It didn't even evolve to make you understand yourself. It has a much more primitive function, and if you don't understand what it is, you will continue fighting a battle you have already started losing. Your brain has a tragic factory defect for the modern world. It is obsessed with you. If you look at the anatomy of depression and anxiety, you will find a common and undeniable trait: excessive self-observation. It is that constant monitoring of, how am I feeling? How am I being perceived? Did I say the right thing? You believe this is self-awareness, but it is not. It is a prison. Biologically, we were programmed to track social threats. In the past, being expelled from the tribe meant certain death. So, your brain developed a paranoid radar that never shuts off, watching your every move to ensure acceptance. The problem is that today, this radar doesn't protect you from lions or exile. It stops you from living. The cruel irony of human existence is that the moments of greatest happiness do not happen when we are thinking about ourselves, but rather when we forget we exist. These are states of flow, of surrender, of connection with something greater. The less you think about yourself, the better you feel. But your default operating system fights against this every second. And to deal with the discomfort of this internal surveillance, you have developed a strategy that seems brilliant but is fatal: avoidance. Here enters a law from which no one escapes. What you avoid controls you. It sounds counterintuitive. Logic says that if I move away from what scares me, the fear diminishes. But the brain learns by association. Look at the vicious cycle you likely execute every day. Anxiety arises about a task or a difficult conversation. You decide to leave it for later. Immediately, your body feels relief. That relief is the chemical reward that teaches your brain: running away is good, running away saves. Every time you avoid, you feed the monster. Your comfort zone shrinks. Your alarm system becomes more sensitive. What was just a difficult conversation becomes an insurmountable monster. Avoidance, which was supposed to be your shield, becomes the bars of your cell. Drugs, procrastination, endless hours on social media, these are not leisure choices, they are escape mechanisms to avoid feeling what is inside. But before you blame yourself for being weak or lazy, understand the root of this. Your behaviors today, however destructive they may seem, are solutions to problems you have forgotten. Perhaps, at some point in your history, staying quiet and invisible was the only way to feel safe in a chaotic environment. Perhaps avoiding conflict was necessary when you were too small to defend yourself. Your brain recorded these patterns as survival protocols. The problem isn't that you are broken. The problem is that you are running childhood survival software on adult hardware that needs growth. And until you update this system, history will repeat itself. The real cost of not acting now is not just remaining unhappy. It is watching your mind transform your worst fears into concrete reality. There is a concept in acceptance and commitment therapy that defines the exact point where we lose our freedom: cognitive fusion. It is the moment when you stop having a thought and start being the thought. You don't think, "I am having the idea that I am inadequate." You conclude, "I am inadequate." This grammatical distinction seems small, but it is the difference between sanity and neurosis. When you fuse with your internal narratives, they stop being hypotheses and become irrefutable facts. And here enters the most dangerous mechanism of human psychology, the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe, for example, that you are uninteresting, you close yourself off. You don't ask questions, you don't make eye contact, you avoid interactions. The result? People pull away, not because you are uninteresting, but because you acted as such. The world then returns the rejection you projected, and you say, "See, I was right." You weren't right. You were the architect of your own isolation. And this isolation is biologically devastating. We forget that the need for attachment is not a romantic whim. It is an evolutionary imperative as vital as oxygen. Our ancestors who didn't bond died. A baby without attachment does not survive. Your body knows this. When you disconnect from others out of fear or insecurity, your nervous system interprets this as a threat to life. Cortisol rises, inflammation increases, despair sets in. You are fighting against millions of years of biology, trying to be a self-sufficient island. And that is a war you will lose. Furthermore, you are trapped in a loop of habits that you believe to be a lack of discipline, but is merely design ignorance. You think you are weak because you can't put down your phone or stop procrastinating. The truth is that your habits follow a strict mathematical formula: trigger, behavior, reward. You are trying to change through brute force, fighting against dopamine, when you should be hacking the system. Willpower is a finite and overrated resource. As long as you rely only on it, you will continue to fail. Systems beat intentions. Environment design beats willpower. If you don't interrupt this cycle, now the fusion with negative thoughts, the creation of your own rejection, and the reliance on poorly designed habits, the future is predictable. You will become an increasingly rigid, bitter, and lonely version of yourself. Neuroplasticity works both ways. You can train your brain for resilience, or you can solidify the neural pathways of suffering until they are the only road you know. Inaction is not neutral. Every day you don't take control, you are digging the hole a little deeper. Here lies the cruelest trap of all. In a desperate attempt to protect yourself, you destroy exactly the only thing that could save you. You already know you need bonds, but the way you seek connection is broken. When you feel insecure, rejected, or misunderstood, you rarely show that pain. Instead, you put on armor. You use what we call reactive emotions. You respond with cynicism, you attack with anger, you withdraw into a punitive silence, you show the world a hard, impenetrable surface, hoping someone has the clairvoyance to see the cry for help hidden deep inside. but no one sees it. People only see the anger, the arrogance, or the indifference, and they react by pulling away. Your defense mechanism confirms your fear of abandonment. The hard truth is that real connection demands real vulnerability. Behind your anger, there is almost always fear. Behind your cynicism, there is disappointment. These are your core emotions. As long as you don't have the courage to communicate what is underneath the armor, to say, "I am scared," instead of screaming, "You are an idiot," you will remain lonely, even when surrounded by people. You are fighting an internal battle where your weapons wound your allies. And as if this emotional war wasn't enough, you are likely sabotaging the very machine that processes all of this, your body. There is a modern intellectual arrogance in thinking that the mind is software floating in a cloud, independent of the hardware. This is a biological lie. Your mind is your body. If you sleep poorly, you are emotionally pre-diabetic. Your mood regulation collapses. If you are sedentary, you are depriving your brain of the most potent natural antidepressants that exist: endorphins, serotonin, and BDNF. Meta-analyses show that physical activity rivals and sometimes surpasses the effect of psychiatric medications for anxiety and mild depression. Yet, you continue treating your body like a cargo vehicle, ignoring nutrition and movement, and then wonder why your mind is foggy and apathetic. You have reached a critical point. On one side, your emotional defenses are pushing away the people you love. On the other, your lifestyle is inflaming your brain, making it chemically impossible to feel well-being. You are trying to run a marathon with a backpack of rocks, your unprocessed emotions, and your legs tied, your neglected body. Willpower won't get you out of this. Blind insistence won't work. The system is collapsing, and the only way out is a complete re-engineering of how you operate. We have reached the point of convergence. The way out of this maze is not to destroy who you are, but to transcend who you think you are. The golden rule, the one that permeates all others, is that freedom begins exactly where identification ends. Starting today, you need to become the scientist of your own experience and no longer the victim of it. When mental chaos arises, do not fuse with it. Remember, you are not the thought, "I am a failure." You are the consciousness that perceives that thought passing by. You are the sky, thoughts are just the weather. The weather changes, the sky remains. This posture of the observer is what allows you to apply the first rule, name to tame. When you feel the tightness, write. Take it out of the dark of the mind and put it on paper. Turn the monster into text. In practice, this requires a daily renegotiation with discomfort. Stop waiting for the will or the courage to arrive before acting. Action precedes motivation. Face that difficult conversation, take that small step toward fear. Remember that avoidance is the fuel of anxiety. The only way for fear to shrink is for you to grow in front of it through gradual exposure. And while you do this, treat your biology with the respect it demands. Do not expect mental sanity from a sedentary and sleep-deprived body. Movement is not vanity, it is preventive psychiatric medicine. Your old patterns were solutions to problems you have already forgotten, but today they are the bars of your prison. You have the power to update this system. Seek vulnerability in your relationships, because that is where healing happens. Replace accusation with the confession of how you feel. Trade the tough face for the courage to be human. This is not an invitation to a happy life all the time. That is a childish illusion. It is an invitation to a rich life with meaning, where you regulate your emotions instead of being enslaved by them. It is an invitation to real adulthood. Most people have already closed this video at the second minute, looking for the next quick hit of dopamine. If you are still listening to my voice, you are part of a silent minority that truly seeks depth. I want to know who you are. If you made it to the end and are committed to taking command of your mind, write in the comments the following phrase: "I am the observer." This is your password. It is the signal that you understood that you are not your thoughts, nor your past traumas. It is the public commitment that, starting today, you stop reacting and start responding. Leave your like if this content generated value for you. Subscribe to continue this journey of hard and necessary truths. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay well, but above all, stay conscious.